Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. How are you doing? It is another year for the Christmas premieres. Yay! And this makes the third year for me. And I'm so proud and so happy to be a part of something so wonderful. Now, I will admit, when I first got started, it was definitely to be able to assist those who may be lonely this time of the year. And they may be a little bit lonelier than, we, because we have family members. So we created an opportunity for everyone to get to enjoy a whole slew of YouTube crafters that put together 47 hours full of companionship. Now, initially, we reached out to the diamond painting community, and that was so wonderful. And last year, you saw a lot of them participating in challenges. The marshmallow challenge. That was a lot of fun. This year, we're opening it up to a ton of different crafting avenues. So make sure you stick around and you stay tuned, and perhaps you'll pick a new favorite craft. Yay! Now, I'd like to start off by giving a big shout out to Pippa Brown. She is in Australia and she is the mastermind behind the Christmas premieres. I think it is such a wonderful idea, and one of the reasons why I'm so on board with it this year is because I too have now become an empty nester, and I could not have imagined how lonely this time of the year can actually be. I'm sure I don't have the syndrome as bad because it's new and my babies still are coming home. But I do find myself spending so much more time kind of alone, and I'm looking through life and I'm wondering, what my next phase is all the time. So hopefully this next year will bring out just some fun and some differences that I'll be able to kind of hang on to. If you stay tuned, maybe you'll be along for the journey with me, which will be awesome, awesome. So let's just kick off by talking about the Christmas premieres. Usually I am here for all of the fun. I do like to hear the various Christmas traditions that everyone has, to see the subtle nuances and to see how many of us do so many things alike. And I'll be joining you guys in a few of my Christmas traditions as well. But I wanted to start off talking about maybe, it's the fun time of the year. It's the time when we all have, great stories we can't wait to share. But I'm pretty sure there's a couple of you out there that perhaps have had some horrible Christmas experiences as well. That's what I want to talk about. What are your worst Christmas experiences? How did you overcome them? What occurred? Who was involved? Were you young, or did this happen later in life as you became an adult? Which probably makes it even funnier. So obviously, since I'm so intrigued by everyone else's, I probably have a couple of stories myself. We always look at Christmas as just a fun time of the year, a time when we can hang out with friends, family, loved ones, create traditions and things of that nature. My poor children, my kids were coming up on Christmas here, especially when they had been used to doing it previously. So, I tried to make the holidays really big, huge, fun. I tried to have lots of tradition surrounding the holidays. So the kids had a ton of things to look forward to when it was their time or their holiday with mom. So Dad was respectful. They went over to Dad's house, and they probably just, didn't do as much and things like that. They came home and they couldn't wait. I never understood why, if he wasn't going to celebrate it and it wasn't going to be a big deal, why it just wasn't a good idea to forego that week. Maybe get an extra week from Mom, at another time and things. That would have been fun, right? Right? So the unfortunate part is, again, we're talking about just some detrimental holidays that I can think of. So this one given year, my kids were going to spend the holiday with Dad. No big deal, because Mom was home planning for an equally fun holiday when they returned. I was baking, going to have all kinds of excitement. The kids leave. They've been gone for roughly 2 hours, I guess. My door opens in the middle of the night. I was so scared. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to think. All of a sudden, I see my daughter. Only my daughter. My daughter got into an argument with her dad. He told her there was no such thing as Santa. And she told him she never wanted to see him again and to take her home. And she came home and she was angry and she was livid. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand the true meaning of Christmas. And then at the end of her rant, my poor baby broke down into tears and said, "He really said there's no such thing as Santa, Mom. He said there's no such thing as some white man flying around in the sky delivering gifts. How do you think he could do that all in one night?" I didn't know what to say. I mean, I was torn as a parent because, we as parents, we tell our kids, we shouldn't lie. We shouldn't this, we shouldn't that. And so I didn't want to go against something I always told my kids you shouldn't do. And it's Christmas. And my baby's talking about the meaning of Christmas. And my baby's broken up and brokenhearted. And I turned and I looked at her. And I said, "He's a liar. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You believe in Santa. You believe because if you don't believe, you don't receive." And that was the understanding that we had. Worst Christmas for my daughter. I still to this day, and she grown, still to this day, I've never heard her say anything about not believing in Santa. So, you guys can chat your little hearts out, and you guys can, please don't judge. But I was put in a spot, and I was fighting my way out of the corner. That's all I can say. Now, my household growing up, just to, bring it back to tradition, my dad lived and breathed Christmas, my entire family. And back home where I'm from, Christmas was huge. My dad's side of the family, they were diabetic. And the unfortunate part is diabetes is extremely hard on someone throughout the holiday season, especially if you go into a dialysis unit. And a lot of times they switch days around, or you can go longer without being dialyzed, I guess is the best way to say it. And when you go longer, you have additional fluid on your body as well as difficulty with your heart pumping it. And the longer you've been on dialysis, the more strain that this can cause for you. And so my family knows, myself as well, I'm aware. And, my grandparents, my dad, my aunt, my dad's oldest sister, unfortunately, all separate years have passed away on Christmas. And I don't want this to be, just a sad, remembrance of them, but just letting you know why Christmas tradition has become so important in our family. It started with my grandfather. He passed away in 75. Yeah. And on Christmas, my grandmother in 1984 on Christmas. My dad's older sister 2 years prior to my grandmother in 1982. Yes, on Christmas. And my father passed away. This Christmas will be 10 years. So definitely wanted to make sure that, I prefaced Christmas traditions and things like that, because you hear us talk about them all the time, and everyone has such wonderful Christmas traditions. And when I tell you that my family lived and breathed Christmas, it's hard to believe because of how much tragedy and loss we've suffered on Christmas. But that, I think, caused us to live and breathe it even more. If you've been with us the last 3 years and you've watched my premiere, you've heard this tale. So it doesn't change, and I won't go dark because it did become maybe more of a celebration of life and love and enjoyment. But I do wish that everyone can share such beautiful stories throughout these Christmas premieres. But my stories are going to be crazy. So I just shared with you how my daughter found out or heard, because we've never talked on such a subject again, because it's not true, in my opinion. But we did just talk about how my daughter was told that there's no such thing as Santa. And it was detrimental and it was harsh. And I remember she cried so hard, her little body shook and shake and just pulsed with so much pain and difficulty. And we do always talk about the meaning of Christmas. We do always talk about love and joy and peace, and how we can carry that throughout the coming year. So I think that, as a young child, she had a good notion, but it was stolen from her, and I just felt bad. The following year, because I said, why, if you're not going to, indulge in the celebration, why do you even need to get the kids? This is a horrible time for you to have the kids. Why would you want to build such a miserable memory? And he tried. Well, I would, see what had happened. But I'm just using what you told the kids. It makes sense, doesn't it? Right? So why don't you just take an extra holiday? How about you get 2 weekends in January? Obviously, that's ideal. We want to start off with that New Year's. Now I can go out. We've had a great Christmas. Now I can go out. Boop, 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 boop. And we got the bubbly, and we're singing Old Lang Syne because I got an extra weekend. So that is the fun for me. But yeah, a few years later, my son has on braces, and this was just such an extraordinary moment, because I had to save for the down payment. Yeah, Daddy didn't help, just so you guys are aware. I know I just spent time talking about him. And he works in pharmaceutical sales also. So there's absolutely no financial despair with him. But he didn't help. So I had to save up the down payment and bust butt to be able to, get his records, get his profile started. And I was very proud of myself for having done that. My son's smile was becoming so detrimental that he would start to cover his mouth, the poor dear. He would cover his mouth when it came time to smile. And there was one time where he actually was taking school pictures and he pursed his lips so that when he smiled, his teeth wouldn't show. That hurt my heart when those pictures came home. And you know how they do us nowadays. You got to pay first. You may be paying for horrible pictures, but they want you to pay first. They no longer send a snippet and then you decide on the package that you want, because they know people are brilliant and they're resourceful. And how many people started getting those little, systems where they could zoom and blow up the picture and next thing you know, they were creating their own little packages and things like that. Grandma was getting them at the cookout and things like that. So yeah, you got to pay now. Even if you don't like it, you got to pay. They'll offer to retouch them. You got to pay for that also. So he come home with the picture package that I'd already paid for, and his lips were pursed, and my heart broke. I felt so horrible. So I was like, we're just going to look around and we're going to take what mommy has and we're going to get you taken care of. And sure enough, once you get those records and the profile paid for, boom, they will get you in. Had no idea. Thought it was going to be a couple of visits and things like that. Nope, went in. We went to the school, the dentistry school, so that I can get a discount. I was very economizing. I was so proud. So he has his braces and things like that. And just to be honest, when you go into the orthodontist, they are actually there to make money, okay? Don't let them fool you. Don't let them make you think, we're going to help you out. We're here to assist you. This is not true. This is a holiday, we're trying to get the baby taken care of, and they literally, every surgery that needs to be had, he had to have. Period. He had to have. We're just going to put these braces on for now. They were like temporary placeholders. That means, we got an investment in you, because that's all that could mean if you ask me. And next thing you know, not only do we have these braces, but we also somehow or another have been strapped into 9 surgeries. I'm confused. My poor son, his worst Christmas. His worst Christmas was, they told me about some renowned surgeon, some renowned oral surgeon who was going to be visiting the college. The dental college, by the way. That's where dentists go to school to become, I guess, dentists. Yeah, pretty sure. So he's here on this one special day, mind you. And he could assist for a deep discount, if you will. I don't know if there's regular prices or if I just paid, luxury prices for this surgery and things like that. But they asked me, and this was prime marketing. They asked me when I walked in there, hey, how does it feel when your child smiles at you? That's awesome marketing right there. What parent is going to say great when their child's teeth resemble French doors? I'm just being honest. I don't my poor child, good thing he's not here in ear range, and he's grown. But yeah, it looked like I was opening French doors. The teeth, instead of laying like this, it turned, and people could come in through the steeple, It was that bad. So that was a great question that they asked me, How do you feel when your child smiles? I feel horrible, of course, was my response. And I heard about this. How do you feel when your child smiles? Every time a special, renowned, world-class surgeon, oral surgeon, by the way, was coming into the college, into the town as the college. I didn't know we was on, the map with so many specialists, but we are on their radar. We're doing something awesome here that's not occurring at any other dental college, I'm guessing. Once in a lifetime opportunity. I mean, it got really built up. And when I still would say, meh, I'm hesitating and things like that. How do you feel when your child smiles? I mean, we could just go on forever with this. That was the most awesome marketing plan on the face of the earth. And I wish I had thought of it. I could get homework done out of this. You know what I mean? On top of getting some homework accomplished, I could probably get housework done. Hey, kids, how do you feel knowing your mom fixed your smile? Things of that nature. Oh. All my work. So I definitely, understood the assignment, and I felt bad for my son. Who wants their kid to purse their lips when they are ready to giggle and smile and just be happy, right? So it's the world-renowned oral surgeon. He's here. He just so happens to be passing through. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And I said yes. They said, okay, bring him in Thursday. No worries. Take him in on Thursday. That way, if he has a headache or any residual pain and he needs to be off Friday, great timing, he won't have to return until the new year. Right. I'm really thinking. My poor son gets his surgery. We come home that evening. He is in some pain the next day. So no worries. It's the day before Christmas vacation. I go pick his homework up. I come back home. We are ready. I cannot wait. This is going to be so amazing because we've had a bum couple of years. Obviously, Dad's not helping and things like that. But we worked it out. The kids are going to get to be home. They're going to get to do all our Christmas traditions. I'm excited. My son could not eat anything but mashed potatoes and pudding. I made some Jell-O. He was done with Jell-O by the end of the second day. Ruined Christmas, not only for my baby when she was little, but now Christmas is ruined for my son. He can't eat anything. No delicious pies, no homemade cookies, butterball drops, none of the delicious homemade macaroni and cheese, no ham. My son loves ham. Couldn't have any ham. Too firm. Felt bad. No snacks, no cookies, nothing. Mashed potatoes. He ate mashed potatoes. He switched it up every once in a while and had garlic mashed, plain buttery mashed with sour cream, mashed potatoes. I bought him some applesauce. He wasn't happy because applesauce, you know what applesauce does, and it did. And so he wasn't happy. But that was how my poor child, got ruined. So, again, everyone's going to be talking about Christmas traditions. And I will share a few of ours soon as well. But I wanted you to know, even though I pride myself on having such an amazing Christmas, the traditional family Christmas, I It has not been, all roses. We have had some fun, horrible Christmases and things. Um, so yeah, moving over from there, some other Christmases that just, weren't exciting and things like that. I'm growing up. I prided myself on just having a little bit of fun. I'm young. Who hasn't been young once? Okay, so Christmas time, and the goal this year was to get a couple of gifts, not just the ones your parents get you. Long story short, I had a few bows. Nobody said the magic words. You know what the magic words are. Will you be my girlfriend? No one had said the magic words. So I was still accepting applications. When you accept applications, I guess you should have a calendar, or as we do here in 2021, have a planner. Get yourself a planner and fill it in. Anyway, I had neither calendar nor planner and lost track of the bows. The BEAUS, the bows. Long story short, I'm getting dressed, on my way on a date, and my dad calls me down. Tia, I'm coming. So I'm dressed for the date that I thought I was going on, which was like dinner and a movie, I believe, when another beau showed up, and I wasn't dressed for the date that he was taking me on, which I have no idea how he got the impression that this was going to be an ideal date, but I still was willing to go. He was taking me with these big shoulders and these wide offset hips to an ice arena to go ice skating. So again, I don't know what happened. We go. I'm trying to be a sport about it. Who wouldn't appreciate, he was a good looking guy, by the way. So who would not appreciate a date? I'm trying to go, trying to have a good time. My mind is gone because I'm sitting here like, how could I have messed this up? I really didn't know. I don't remember anything about an ice arena, what went wrong and things of that nature. Get to the ice arena. I'm sure you can imagine hilarity ensues. I come out the bathroom. Yep, I said come out the bathroom. I have on what I thought was a cute outfit. I wasn't really dressed for this. I got on a little mini skirt. Got on my tights. I put on these ice skates, and I had been trying to get up the nerve to go get on the ice. Now I didn't know, I didn't see it. How many people have ever come out of the bathroom? Have ever come out of the bathroom with tissue attached to their foot? It happens, right? Come on. It happens. Well, when I do something, I go all the way. I go all out. I come out the bathroom, not only was there tissue attached, I guess, to the bottom of my skate, but the tissue went all the way up under my skirt, tucked into my tights. And when she got on the ice arena to try to skate, of course, you know what happened. Skate! Boom! Right on the ice. Hit it with all the hips that I have and these shoulders. I'm pretty sure I cracked the ice. Pretty sure. And guess what else? But tooted up in the air on the ice, tissue paper coming up out. When I tell you, and I don't embarrass easy, I rarely embarrass. that was definitely one of the times where I had some rosy cheeks. Rosy cheeks. That's a pun. Yeah, and I meant it both ways. So, took a trip and dipped and fell onto the ice. It was hard. I got up. No, my pride was not intact. Most people say it's intact, but it was not intact. And I could not get out of there soon enough. Take me home. I don't know how we got this mixed message crossed at all whatsoever. I get home. Again, we are talking worst Christmases ever. I get home. I'm on the porch. I'm about to go in the house. I'm feeling so upset and so down. So he leans in. You guys know what happened, right? He's going to kiss me, which is such a beautiful thought. You know, it's the stuff that Hallmark movies are made of. And who doesn't want to be in the midst of one? I know I would love to be in the midst of one. But life doesn't happen like that for me. No. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So for me, as he leans in to give me what would have been a romantic, I'm so sorry you fell down kiss, headlights flash. Boom. They kind of cut directly through our lips. I'm sure you can visualize, you know. And I'm like, what in the hell is this? Then I hear, you bitch. That's not the words that I had expected to hear at this point. All of a sudden, I hear a door slam. Boom. I'm looking around because I don't know what's going on. What just happened? Coming towards us was the beau that I was supposed to have been on a date. The one that I thought I was going out with. I still, to this day, don't know how I made that mistake at all. This was the beau that I really liked. He was sweet. He was slow. And that's the problem. You know, you got, when you're interested in someone, you can't date anybody that's slower than you. You know, we got to be the same quickness or the same slowness. But one can't be slow and one, you know, quick and clever and things like that. So it wouldn't have lasted. It wouldn't have worked at all whatsoever. But again, she was young, you know, size 6. I think I was about a 6, maybe an 8. I was a thicker teenager. All the other girls were 0s and 2s. The 2s used to be like, I'm so fat. I'm sure you remember high school if you're someone with thick shoulders. Anyway, he comes up on the patio and I was like, whew, busted. I turned to try and go in the house because I didn't want to have this conversation. I was just going to be like, hey, you come over here. You weren't invited. You know, you should wait until you're invited to come over. That was literally going to be the conversation I had. But I was going to have it from the phone in the house and not on the patio. On the porch. So I'm trying to get in the house and my father is inside, and every time I get the door unlocked, this fool put the lock back on the door. Oh, I couldn't get in the house. And he wants to argue. What are you doing? You were supposed to be going out with me tonight. What happened? I was wondering. I hadn't heard from you. I've been calling. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. My father called himself trying to teach me a lesson. But I feel like the lesson should be when you like someone, tell them. You know, most women, I never assume a title. So I don't go around like, oh, Ronnie Jackson likes me. Oh, by the way, this is a totally made up name. It sounds good. Ronnie Jackson likes me. So I'm his girlfriend. I don't do that. So I'm the type of person that if you would like me to be your girlfriend, we would have a communication and you would tell me, hi, I like you, you like me, check yes or no. I feel like that's just the best way to do things. You know, the assumption game, that's just such a hard game to play, you know. So if someone doesn't say, I like you and you be my girlfriend, I feel like, you know, we went on a date. Did it work? Didn't it? I don't know. When he asked me to be his girlfriend, I don't know. Maybe, you know, I'm wrong. I was raised by a guy, and a lot of men told me, I think like a man. You act like a dude. I've heard that. I have definitely heard that. But, you know, just what do you think? Because I think, you know, I'm right. Anyway, I'm screaming, banging on the door. I'm not really talking. And these guys are doing way too much talking. They comparing the dates and things like that. Who does that? Who does that? You know. So I was feeling some kind of way because I'm like, Pops, Poppy. Yes, I call my dad Poppy. Pops, Poppy, open the door. Open. You got me out here with these. I felt like they were acting like, you know, what men call women sometimes. And I called them whining, you know, ass, you know what. I'm just saying it. And I don't know. But I was banging on the door. My father finally opened the door and let me in. But I was not happy. Why you leave me out there so long? You heard him. You heard him. He said, that's what you get. He used to say, he would say it wrong, but he would say, you think you cool, LLJ. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but it's LL Cool J. And he was a rapper in the early 80s, going into the mid 80s. I mean, he went on to have later hits, but he was really big at that time. Oh, anyway, my dad couldn't get his name right to save his life. And he said that I was trying to be the rapper and stuff. So, you know, horrible memories and things like that. Obviously, as an adult, I would never do that, you know. But, I mean, life was about learning and kind of growing and things like that. That was definitely, you know, a lesson and things of that nature. I've had plenty more, you know, lessons and things certainly surrounding Christmas. One year, my dad was dating and he met this woman. I hope you not in my channel, woman, but I'm going to tell the story anyway. This was probably not my worst Christmas, but it definitely probably was one of my dad's. This was before the boyfriend incident that I just told you about. I think this was when I was maybe, I think I was 16 this year. Yeah, I was 16 because I had my license. So I had to be at least 16, might have been 17. But my dad had been dating a woman. And they had been dating for a few months. I would probably venture to say maybe 3 months. They might have started dating about September-ish. So, as I said, Christmas is a big tradition in a Smith family. It's huge. And we do start November 1st. My dad probably starts purchasing the gifts in September. Right after school closed and things of that nature, he starts. And yeah, so it's really big like that. Decorations would go up November 1st. And we had a slew of family gatherings and things like that that we would host. There is a store back home. It's called Cranax. It was a nice, probably hour ride from our home. But when you go to Cranax, they had the most gorgeous tree woods where you can go and pick a live tree. And they also sold the largest, the best, what we call artificial or fake trees. They were so gorgeous. You could buy a Christmas tree display And you could pay to have the store come and recreate the look. So my dad would do that every couple of years, and it would just be the most gorgeous 7-foot Douglas firs, balsam. Oh, they were just gorgeous trees. And we would have, my dad had a big pond out behind his home. So we would have and host just the most beautiful like barn fires, and we never had hay rides, but we would have hay. I'm not sure why we didn't just get a couple of ponies and host some hay rides also. But it was gorgeous nonetheless. And we definitely had a great time. We would have gatherings. We would have family. My grandmother, my father's mom, she was the deacon of the family church. And they were members of that church for probably 50, 60 years. It's just the church that's been in the family. All the generations have gone. All family members have attended. My parents were married there. Definitely, a pillar and a foundation of our Smith family tradition. So beautiful. We start our traditions off with a kickoff for the holiday, a holiday toast. We would have friends and family over. And so dating a Smith during this time of the year is definitely going to be a lot. Okay? You're going to have to host some events. You're going to have to be able to cook some of, events. And obviously, gift giving is going to be just, critical and things of that nature. So my father was dating a woman, and her name was Marie. And yep, my mom's name is Maria. So, nope. I'm not talking about my mom, but just wanted you guys, in case you guys, a lot of people know that my mom is Maria. So I want to make sure that, you guys don't think I'm referring to my mom. Anyway, Miss Marie and my dad are gearing up for the holiday. We have a host of events that we are planning, and we cannot wait. I know I can't. Again, I know it had to be the year I was 16. I'm going to tell you why. My dad, one of the big events that he decided was that we were going to have a gift exchange. And it was going to be, the family. So my dad, his sisters, aunts, cousins, we're going to do a gift exchange. During the gift exchange, we were also going to set aside time for everybody to get maybe one or two of their own gifts. So my dad was going to have us have one or two gifts. I'm old enough at this point that my dad, he feels like, okay, you can help with the gifts purchasing this year and help me wrap because it's a lot on me. I'm like, oh, okay. I just get suckered into everything. So, I had a little attitude and things like that. I got to help. Keep in mind, we have a housekeeper, right? We have a housekeeper because we have a big home and my dad is single. It's just him raising me. My mom had 2 boys. My dad had me, and then my dad adopted 2 boys. So it's 5 of us all together. There's only 1 girl, that's me. And my dad has 3 of us because the 2 that were adopted, they weren't my mom's or my dad's. They were, definitely adopted. So we have a housekeeper because he can't run the house by himself. But all of the housekeeper's duties, Miss Virginia, that's the housekeeper, all of Miss Virginia's duties have now become mine. And I'm going to give you one guess as to why, because I'm not happy about that either. They became mine because my father used to sleep with Miss Virginia. And somehow or another, they had an argument and they weren't talking. But Miss Virginia still had to come to work because she still needed a paycheck. And I don't know who did it first, either Miss Virginia or my dad. But one of them got a significant other. And so the other one went out and got a significant other. Now it's tense. You know what I'm saying? Now I can't eat the way I want to eat. Now I got laundry duty and I got, chores, I guess is what they call. I got chores. That's not fair. That's not right at all whatsoever. But I'm sharing worst Christmases ever. You guys have already heard mine. You already heard my sons. Already heard my daughters. So why not share my dad's, right? Now, Miss Marie has, I think, 3 or 4 kids of her own. Yeah, so he was trying to turn us into the Brady Bunch as it was, okay? Poor Miss Marie. Miss Marie decides she wants to have a talk with me. And she sits Tia down as we enter into this holiday season to where there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that have to be made. These are Miss Marie's words. Lot of sacrifices that have to be made. And because these sacrifices have to be made, she thought it pertinent to have a conversation with me. You see, as Miss Marie put it, I am new in your father's life. And your father is going to be doing a lot to try to make me happy. Now, you know that he will want my children to feel just as welcome as you guys feel. So I don't want you or any of your brothers to feel put out if your father does more for us or my kids than he does for you guys. Okay? That's from Miss Marie, guys. That's what she wanted to sit me down to say. And Tia was like, huh? What? Wait a minute. Like, it took a minute. It took a minute. This got to sink in. This has to sink in. What did she just say to me? Did she just say that it is not going to be, she didn't want me to be upset with my dad and for me to realize, wait, what did she just say? It took a minute, guys. Not going to lie. I had to think about it. And then, after all of her words sunk in, because all I heard was doing more for them than us. That'll never happen. That's what probably came out next. So I was so just infuriated. I mean, I was upset. How are you going to tell me that I need to be prepared for my father to do more for you and your kids than he will ever do for me and my brothers? What did you just say? Yeah. So instead of trying to argue with her, instead of trying to, create a big scene, I remember I called up my friend and I was like, oh, it's Operation Get Rid of the Bitch time. I called my best friend up. Yes, I know this sounds like a movie. No movie could have got this crazy though. So my dad's house, it was his pride and joy because he rebuilt it. It was a nice house. He turned it into a beautiful house. He wanted the house. An older gentleman in the neighborhood owned the house. And Mr. Jesse was, he was like some sort of electronics mogul and things. And I think my father idolized him because my dad tried to get into every, stream of business that Mr. Jesse was in. Mr. Jesse obviously was much more successful than my dad, but my dad was successful in his own right, and he definitely did a good job of creating, he had his own electronic store. So the unfortunate part was, the little mom and pop shops, they began to suffer as bigger box stores came along, like Circuit City. That's no longer, an issue, but other stores came along like Best Buy, let's see, Walmart and Farmore and Hills and Kmart, they were starting to have really good prices on electronics. And unfortunately, my father's little small, family-owned electronics store, it, started to wane. It resurfaced in its popularity a little bit. He moved his storefront. He had a storefront in the same plaza at a trucker's mall, and a flea market was out there. And he had moved into video games. And yeah, once he moved into video games, his popularity began to soar again. But it started to wane, when GameFly and things like that of the mid-2000s, when that came back. So yeah, he did okay for himself, just to kind of put you guys into perspective. Anyway, it wasn't uncommon for women to, see his success and then, to want to date him. They thought he was cute. My dad looked like, just to put you guys in the frame of mind, he could have been the twin brother to Heavy D. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's no longer with us, but he was a rapper who lost some weight, got really, successful, became like a vice president of a record company. But my dad was a little bit lighter than him. Yeah, my dad could pass for white. Unfortunately, a lot of people knew he wasn't, and he, suffered, but he could pass. So he was a lot lighter, but that's who he resembled. He was like 6'3", 6'4". A lot of people in the late 80s, early 90s, when we would go place, was that you and Heavy D? Did you go somewhere with Heavy D? So just to give you just a mindset of some of the women that probably, my dad would encounter and that would have interest in him and things like that. So, in other words, Miss Marie, she might have been, I don't know. I think she could have been, looking to make a come up in life, I guess is the best way to say it. So she had announced that, he was going to be doing more for them. She really tried to throw herself into the hosting role. And I will never forget, we have this big party that's planned, and we're having a lot of people over from the church. We had a couple of my aunts, they worked at the university. My dad's two younger sisters, both of them worked at the local university. And so they were going to have a few of professors. They were going to have some teaching assistants over. They were going to school for, they wanted to own their own bakery. And they were going to school for business management because they wanted to, learn how to run it and things of that nature. So they would always bake the pastries and the yummy goodness so that they could, have it at the party. And I'll never forget, she was getting the house together. She had all the decorations and everything planned. And I flooded the toilets in the house and ruined the party. She was the last one. She was going around checking on everything. And she would go in and she would make sure everything was presentable. Obviously, Miss Virginia can't help because there's a conflict of interest. And she's announced this big whatever that's going to happen where, my dad ain't going to do for us and he only going to do for her. So the point was to get rid of her. So I flooded the toilets in the house. Which means we had to cancel the part. My dad was not happy and he was ticked. She kept saying, well, I don't know what happened. Obviously, I had to do the dig. This never happened when Miss Virginia was helping run everything. It didn't stop there. Next, my dad says, he gave me a list. He needed me to go do the Christmas shopping. I got to get the list for everyone. She literally changes the list. She talks about, well, my son would appreciate this. My son would probably like that. And changes the list as if she thought it was for him. And when she changed the list, Obviously, that was a dig. I kept trying to tell her because I knew who the list were. My dad was getting the gifts that my brothers were going to get at the second event. He was getting those. And she assumed that he's just buying stuff to have it. Maybe he had been shopping in a circular, and she assumed that she could, you know, change the list to suit what her boys would want. And so I came back with the items that with the items that she had changed. And oh my God, did he hit the roof? What happened? I'm about tired. What's going on? I said, Dad, I did everything she told me to do. Do you not want me to listen to her? This never happened when Miss Virginia. And he just hit the roof. We got floors flooding. She's trying to knock out walls. She's moving this in. She wants to rebuild on the back of the house. I'm running out of money and I don't have time to be doing. He just went off. And he said, everybody out. Get out. And I'm standing there on the right side of his arm like, yeah. And he said, you too. I said, me? Pops? Where am I gonna go? It's Christmas. Hopefully, no one has a bad Christmas like that. I was definitely a devil. I've had a lot of fun over the years, you know, but I would take it all back to just have one more Christmas with my dad, to definitely be able to enjoy some of our family traditions. We definitely hosted several family events. We definitely volunteered and contributed to our charities. We adopted families at Christmas time. We went caroling. My dad decorated the house from the top of our trees all the way out to the back pond. We had an amazing childhood. We had an amazing adulthood. Christmas came to mean a lot. And even though my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather, and my dad's sister all passed away, different years on Christmas, it came to be the best time of the year for all of us. All of my cousins, my brothers, we all love Christmas to death. And it is just the best time of the year for us. Thank you so very much for allowing me to share these stories of my worst Christmas, my family's worst Christmas, because it just helps me appreciate the good ones so much more. Thank you. And you guys all have a Merry Christmas. Good night.